Hello everybody and welcome. So yesterday Ubisoft released some test server patch notes for Operation Phantom Sight, and there were some very interesting details in there. Now, as I'm sure most of you will know, that there is quite a bad glitch in the game at the moment involving Clash and her shield, Claymores and Deployable Shields. If you're not aware of these, I won't go into too much detail, but basically Clash can have her shield on her face and still be able to shoot through it, and if you're picking an operator that has Claymores or Deployable Shields, once you actually spawn into the game, those devices are not actually available. They're just not there. You have zero. And one of the most frustrating things about that for the TTS anyway is that the two new operators, Nokk and Warden, have both of these gadgets. So Warden has a deployable shield and Nokk has a Claymore. So at the moment, if you're loading in with those operators, those two gadgets are not available whatsoever. You don't have any. So in an attempt to change that or to compensate for that in some way, what they're going to be doing for this test server is actually removing the deployable shield and the Claymore from the two operators Warden and Nokk, and instead of having the deployable shield, Warden will now have 2 impact grenades, and instead of having the Claymores, Nokk will now have 3 stun grenades. Now, the big thing that really did shock me when I read this is that this is not only going to be for the test server, this change is also going to be present when they release Operation Phantom Sight in June. They did go on to say in this post that it's not going to be a permanent fix, and they will restore the original loadouts during Season 2 once they have completed this fix. But this, like I say, really was a bit of a shock to me. Removing the deployable shield and giving Warden 2 impact grenades instead, and giving Nokk 3 stun grenades instead of a Claymore. I don't know. And this is going to be for the live version as well. It really would be interesting to hear your guys' thoughts on this. I really do want to know what you think about them making these changes or a kind of compensation while they get this exploit fixed. The other thing I just wanted to quickly say about some of these exploits within Rainbow Six Siege, and while I'm not trying to defend Ubisoft here, but like I say, just kind of give a little bit of explanation as to why some of these things do happen. As most of you will know, I've recently been invited by Ubisoft to go and play Operation Phantom Sight early, as I have done with previous seasons like Operation Wind Bastion and Operation Burnt Horizon. And while I was there, I got talking to one of the guys who works for Ubisoft and said to him, you know, like, all these bugs and glitches in the game, it's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? And he kind of explained to me in layman's terms, I guess, why these things do happen. And I think what it basically comes down to is that when Ubisoft first made Rainbow Six Siege, they had no idea or no plans for it to be so popular as what it is today going into its 4th year. When you think about other AAA titles, Call of Duty or Battlefield, most of them only last a year or 2 at the very most. And I think Ubisoft were no different when they first launched Rainbow Six Siege. So basically, they had no intentions of being able to go into the back end of the game and basically having to change game files into its 4th year, which is why we do see a lot of problems within the game. So this is kind of what I thought as being described as like a butterfly effect, I guess. It's not just a case of simply going into one map and changing this one thing. By doing that, what you then could possibly do is have a massive effect on lots of different other things within the game itself. So let's say, for example, you remove a picture frame off of the map house. Okay, that's fair enough, that's been done, that picture frame is no longer there, but then all of a sudden, oh my god, there's no ACOGs in the game. What have happened to all the ACOGs? They've also gone. That, I suppose, in very layman's terms, is basically what's happening to Siege at the moment. It's not as simple as going into the game, changing a little bit of code, and that one problem is fixed. Changing that one bit of code is obviously having a big effect on other things within the game and creating all these bugs and exploits. So I just wanted to share that little bit of insight with you, and not so much kind of give the devs a break, but just be on their side a little bit, because they've obviously got their work cut out, and I think they are doing a really good job at getting on top of all of these exploits and glitches as quick as they can and working as hard as they can to bring us a game running as smooth as possible. Like I say, going into its 4th year. I think GG team. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I do as always appreciate your time, and until next time, goodbye.